Hello, my name is Dr. Stephen Myers, and today I want to share with you about Bible and science. Is the Bible scientifically accurate? Can we go to it and find scientific truths in the Bible? We have Isaiah 40, verse 22, talks about the circle of the earth. And in Job 26:7, it says, He hangeth the earth upon nothing. And here we have a NASA photo showing this to be true. And so we want to look at the science in the Bible. Is it scientifically accurate? And in the next slides here, I want to look in depth at this. First, I want to look at my background. I was raised in Cleveland, Ohio. And when I was 8 years old on Easter Sunday, I asked Jesus to come into my heart and wash my sins away, and that day I was saved. And this is during the 60s, 1960s. There was the big space race, and I was interested in space and astronomy and the race to the moon. And it always seemed like the Russians were one step ahead of us. I even built a space center in the basement, making a spaceship. And in 1969, we stayed up late to watch Neil Armstrong walk on the moon. And my favorite book series was Tom Swift. So I had a big interest in astronomy and in space. And I remember watching Lost in Space. And some of these other programs. My other interest was in dinosaurs. How does science and the Bible connect? Where are there dinosaurs? Are there dinosaurs in the Bible? And how are we supposed to look at that? But we want to first concentrate on astronomy and look at a few verses here. One day, sometime in the 1960s, I came across a book on science and the Bible and was amazed to find out that the Bible is scientific, even ahead of its time. And the two key verses that I remember back then was Isaiah 40, verse 22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers. And the book said this shows that the earth is a sphere. But in ancient times they thought the earth was flat. So this is amazing scientific knowledge in the Bible. Then in Job chapter 26, verse 7, it says, He stretches out the north over the empty place, and hangeth the earth upon nothing. And this is another amazing scientific truth. The earth is hanging upon nothing. In ancient time, they thought the earth was supported by pillars, or with the Greeks, Atlas held up the world. The Bible seemed to be scientifically accurate, and I was hooked on Bible and science, and Dr. Henry Morris was my hero. In high school, I would talk to a student who was a Jehovah's Witness, who said that Jesus was a God, but not the God, because there was no definite article before God in the Greek. I didn't know how to answer since I didn't know Greek. And this made me want to go to Bible college and learn Hebrew and Greek, and that's exactly what I did. And there's this encounter with this student who was a Jehovah's Witness, and this was in Cleveland, Ohio. Then I went on to seminary, where I took a course in Isaiah, and I picked the astronomy of Isaiah to do my research paper, and concentrated on the word, the circle of the earth. The circle of the earth, or just the word circle, is the Hebrew word hug, and I found out there's the circle of the earth in Isaiah 40:22, And then there's the circle of the heavens in Job 22:14. And he walketh in the circuit of the heavens, the same Hebrew word. Does this mean that the heavens or universe must be spherical in shape? Then there's the circle of the seas. Job 26:10. He hath encompassed the waters with bounds until the day and night come to an end. And here we have the word hugh again. Then we have the circle of the winds in Ecclesiastes 1:6, which states, the wind goeth forth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to its circuits, or hue. So we have a number of different verses about circle in the Bible. And we'll want to take a closer look at this. Now the second part of Isaiah 40, verse 22, says, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Scientists tell us that the heavens are expanding. So this is another amazing scientific truth. The heavens are expanding, and it said so right in Isaiah. It also says the earth is stretched out. We have tectonic plates stretching the earth out in the mid-Atlantic Ocean. Isaiah 42:5 says, thus saith the Lord God, he hath created the heavens and stretched them out, and he hath spread forth the earth. So here we have him spreading out the earth as well. Another amazing science about tectonic plates of the earth spreading out. I thought I had discovered some amazing scientific truths in the Bible. Of course, my Hebrew professor, however, was not that impressed. And here I have it somewhere here, the original, and it says it was in 1978. I wrote the paper on it, and I wanted to study this more about the scientific truths in the Bible, the circle of the earth. And so I want to look up ancient writings to see about how similar or different these phrases were. I took a course at another school and searched Greek text and found that a number of these biblical phrases are found in ancient Greek text. The ancient Babylonian map of the world that you can see on the right here shows that the earth as a circle surrounded by the circle of the sea. The Hebrew word hug most likely does not mean sphere but circle or dome. Most modern translations translate it as dome in Isaiah 40 verse 22. And here we can see that's what they thought in ancient times. The earth was a circle, and the sea surrounding it was a circle. What I concluded about this was that the ancient writers of the Hebrew Bible were using common descriptions of the ancient world, not amazing scientific facts. And we can't pour modern science back into the Bible. And one example is Psalm 33:2 and Psalm 92:3 that tells about a 10-stringed harp or instrument. And some have poured modern-day science back into this, saying that this proves that string theory is correct. There are 10 strings that form, the 10 dimensions that the universe is in. But that is not what the psalmist meant by the 10-stringed harp. He's not talking about string theory of physics. And so we should avoid trying to pour modern science back into the Bible. Then I went on to Westminster Theological Seminary, where I received a THM, and my thesis was entitled A Biblical Cosmogony, where I go into detail about these phrases. Other books, like the Quran, claim amazing scientific truths as well. But most of them are just reading modern day science back into the Quran. And I've written a book, Insights to Islam, here, along with my son. And I do a chapter, it talks about, in here, the errors, astronomical errors in the Quran. Of course, there's other books saying, oh, there's amazing scientific truths in it, but here I have, it talks about the 7 heavens and the 7 earths. Of course, this probably came from the rabbis in ancient times who believed the same thing. And that's in the Quran, Surah 65, verse 1 and 2. And then the earth is spread out like a carpet in Quran, Surah 88, 20. So I have that, all these like scientific errors, biological errors, historical errors that are in the Quran. It's all in this book here. I have a link down to it if you want to buy it, or you can get it on Academia EDU. But they claim also the Quran to be all these scientific truths, but if you look closely, the devil is in the details. There's actually a lot of errors scientifically. And the Bible is the same. The Bible is just scientifically wrong when it comes to science. The Bible is not a science book. We should not use it as a science book. The Bible is a spiritual book, not a scientific book. Well, what about Job 26, verse 7? He hangeth the earth upon nothing. Surely this is science, scientifically accurate. Henry Morris says the earth is suspended in space, not supported on pillars. Yet there are several verses that talk about the pillars of the earth in Job 9, verse 6, Psalm 75, verse 3, and the pillars of the heavens in Job 26:11. And I think that Job 26:7 is just poetically describing the earth being spread out over the deep. That's what's happening here. So there's a small little view here of how they viewed the world. So they saw the mountains as pillars holding up the heavens as well as holding up the earth. The heaven was the firmament, a solid firmament that was held up by the mountains. And Job 26:7 is talking about the earth is spread out over the deep. This phrase parallels stretching out of the heavens over the void or deep. The word north is used for the whole heavens here, and the word for stretched out is only used of the heavens. The word nothing parallels the word void in the preceding verse. So we're talking about Hebrew parallelism here. And I would translate this phrase as he is suspending the earth over the formless deep. And this is the same word in Genesis 1, verse 2, the formless deep. And we have the same thing in Enuma Elish. This is the Babylonian creation story. And it says the great structure, Ihera, that's the earth, which he made as a canopy over the deep, this would be the deep waters. And the earth is seen as a canopy that's stretched over this ocean. And the Shamus hymn, it says, "You," Shamus is the sun god, "climb to the mountains surveying the earth. You suspended from the heavens the circle of the lands." So here we have it again in the Babylonian creation account. There's a big, thick book here on that. If you want to get, there's a smaller, cheaper one, older one on the Babylonian Genesis. And so these are just common phrases used in the ancient world, and we should not try to read modern science back into it. Let me go into more detail about the Enuma Elish Babylonian story. And this is Marduk was their god that they worshipped. And Marduk has a battle with Tiamat, the sea monster. And this Tiamat, we get the word Thahom, which is also used in Genesis 1, verse 2, the deep. And so what he does is he kills the sea monster and splits her in two. And one half he stretches out and makes the heavens. And then the other part he stretches out and makes the earth to cover the deep. And then her eyes, from her eyes form the Tigris and Euphrates River. Here we have a larger view of what in ancient times and biblical times, how they viewed the world back then. So in Genesis 6 we have the firmament, a solid firmament being made with waters above the firmament, and then you have the waters below, and then the earth is stretched out in between. Now in Exodus 24:10, it tells us this firmament was made of lapis lazuli, where you have God on his throne. And the word in English is sapphire, but in ancient times it refers to lapis lazuli, a very beautiful blue stone. Then in Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 22, you have it as a crystal firmament, as well as in Josephus on Genesis and Jewish antiquities as crystal, so you could see through and see the other heavens above. And then you have the pillars or mountains that hold up the heavens, Job 26:11. And then you have the pillars of the earth, Job 9:6. And you have the great deep and the foundations of the earth, and Sheol under the earth there. And this gives you an idea of how they viewed the universe back then. 2 Timothy 3:16-17 says, "All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works." Notice it's good for instruction in righteousness. It doesn't say it's good for instruction in astronomy or biology or any of the other sciences. It's good for instruction in righteousness, how to live a righteous life. And it's not a science book. And we should not try to make it a science book. And we're going to run into a tremendous amount of problems if we try to make the Bible a science book. We have in the Hebrew Bible a lot of poetic language. Isaiah 55 verse 12 says, "The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Are we supposed to take this scientifically, find some scientific truths from this? Or are we to take this as poetic language, beautiful poetic language, describing the mountains and the trees here? Galileo says the Bible tells us how to go to heaven, not how the heavens go. And Galileo, he was in a big fight with the church, one time put in jail because of his views of the universe. And he does not think the Bible is a science book, but it's supposed to tell us how to go to heaven. And Galileo, when he turned his telescope on the sun, he saw sunspots. The sun was supposed to be perfect. Creation was supposed to be perfect. Yet there are spots on the sun, and this greatly upset the Church of Rome. He turned his telescope on Jupiter and found out that there was 4 moons circulating around Jupiter, when at that time they thought everything circulated around the earth. And this was very disturbing to the church. This is another reason why we should not make the Bible a science book. It is not inerrant. There are errors in it when it comes to science. This is my first and most important step I took to leave fundamentalism and find true freedom. That the Bible was not a science book. I couldn't dig up modern science, and I was just reading my modern science back into the Bible. So it's very important in understanding the Bible back in ancient times. Now, I hope to cover other verses that claim to be scientific. I wrote a whole paper on it that you can get on bibleandscience.com. You can look at there. You can look at Academia EDU, my name there. One of them is in Job 38:14. It talks about the earth is turned as clay to the seal. And of course, Henry Morris thinks this means the earth is rotating around. Well, look this up if you want to find the answer to that. And hopefully I can get to some of these other claims here in the Bible in other videos. And the next video, I want to look at the end of the world, or eschatology. When will Jesus return? Is the end very near? And come check out the next video to find out about that. Make sure to subscribe if you want, to ring the bell, and stay tuned for other amazing science supposedly in the Bible.